Our New Testament reading this evening is taken from the Gospel according to Matthew, beginning at chapter 26, verse 17. On the first day of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus, saying, "Where do you want us to make the preparations for you to eat the Passover?" He said, "Go into the city to a certain man and say to him, 'The teacher says, my time is near. I will keep the Passover at your house with my disciples.'" So the disciples did as Jesus had directed them, and they prepared the Passover meal. When it was evening, he took his place with the 12. And while they were eating, he said, "Truly, I tell you, one of you will betray me." And they became greatly distressed and began to say to him one after another, "Surely not I, Lord." He answered, "The one who has dipped his hand into the bowl with me will betray me. The Son of Man goes as it is written of him. But woe to that one by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been better for that one not to have been born." Judas, who betrayed him, said, "Surely not I, Rabbi." He replied, "You have said so." While they were eating, Jesus took a loaf of bread, and after blessing it, he broke it, then gave it to his disciples and said, "Take, eat, this is my body." Then he took a cup, and after giving thanks, he gave it to them, saying, "Drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. I tell you, I will never again drink of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom." When they had sung the hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. You have eaten this meal. You have gathered around this table. You have sat opposite the one you love, the one who loves you. You have sat near the one with whom you are vying for position. You have sat next to the one who betrayed you. You have sat next to the one whom you betrayed. You have leaned into the bosom of the one you knew would not live to see another sunset. And you have leaned close to the one whose parting was an earthquake of surprise. Do you remember? You have gathered around this table of tradition, asking, why is this night different from every other night? Why this food? Why right here? Why right now? You have eaten the familiar bread, the workday fruit of the vine, suddenly transformed into you knew not what, something more, something greater. Bread for the journey, the water of life. Do you remember? You have watched as the one you love, the one who loves you, took the bread. You have watched the hard-working hands handling the steaming, fragrant loaves. Who baked the loaves? Who packaged the flour? Who milled the grain? Who planted the seed? All the work of all these hands, now before you, on the table, being held in the strong and gentle hands of the one you love, the one who loves you. The taking of the bread, do you remember? You have listened as the one you love, the one who loves you, blessed the bread. You listened to those words, "Bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts. Lord, bless this food to our use and our bodies to thy service. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, amen." Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth, amen. The blessing spoken in the voice of the one you love, the one who loves you. Do you remember? You have smelled the scent of the warm loaves as they were broken, bread broken for you, and all around the table, broken for your nourishment, broken so that everyone would have their fill, broken because that's the only way bread can be shared, broken so that one loaf is many pieces, broken and yet still one loaf. Bread that is broken by the hands of the one who loves you and the one whom you love. Do you remember? You have reached out your hands to receive the bread as it is given, holding the warm morsels in your own hands, bread you received from the hands of the one you love, the one who loves you, given to you and all around the table for your nourishment, one piece among many, given by the one you love, the one who loves you. Do you remember? The one who loves you took the form of a human, the form of a slave. The one who loves you takes the cup. Do you remember? This cup which has been blessed like his life, a life for others, a life of healing, a life of casting out demons and dining at the wrong tables, a life of restoring sight to blind eyes and the ability to walk to broken legs. Do you remember? This life was poured out like a cup, poured out by hatred, poured out by fear, poured out for you, poured out in love, poured out in forgiveness, poured out like water on a baby's head, poured out like a river, washing off dusty bodies and dusty souls, poured out by the one who loves you. Do you remember? This bread, this cup, which have been given to you, given for you, given to all, given for all, for everyone around this table, for everyone around every table, given so that you might be healed, given so that you might get off the soul transplant list, given so that you might learn to give, given so that you might learn to live. Do you remember? You were there, and you, and you, and you, and you. I remember. I promise. You were there at the breaking and the blessing, at the pouring and the sharing. You were there eating this bread. You were at that table. You were there with the one you loved and who loved you. You were there next to the one with whom you were vying for position. You were there with the one who betrayed you. You were there with the one whom you betrayed. You were there, and you shared the bread for your journey. And listening to those words, do this. Do this in remembrance. Do this in remembrance of me.